These are the visuals that you see on the screens are from New York. Earlier, what we knew was that the fireworks were paused in Washington, but then, of course, it was told that it is due to thunderstorms. But now we can see these are the visuals coming in from New York, which shows the fireworks show. What you see right now are the visuals coming in from New York, where fireworks have been lit up in the celebration of 4th of July, which marks the 250th anniversary of the independence of the United States of America. These celebrations come as Donald Trump is expected to give a speech in Washington, although that has been put on hold because of severe weather. He is expected to give a speech at the Salute to America event on the National Mall, which will be followed then by massive fireworks, which we can see at least in New York has been happening. And these are the celebration visuals coming in from New York, celebrating the 4th of July, which is also widely known as Independence Day. It is, of course, the premier national holiday in the United States, and it commemorates the historic adoption of the Declaration of Independence by the Continental Congress on 4th of July, 1776. It marks the nation's separation from Great Britain. Now, of course, in this holiday, it is being characterized by some fireworks displays that you can see on your screens. Then there are community parades that takes place. There are picnics that takes place and celebrations across the nation, which has been largely, a lot of events have been largely canceled in the United States due to severe weather. But what we can see right now is our visuals from New York, where the fireworks has been on full display. Now, an event was which had the president, he had to give a speech in Washington, D.C. that was put on hold due to severe weather, due to thunderstorms. We'll have to wait and see if that resumes. But as of now, these are the visuals from New York, which is celebrating the 4th of July with fireworks show. The visuals that just came in from New York, celebrating the 4th of July, also known as Independence Day. It celebrates the birth of American independence from British Empire. Just for some history, on July 2nd, 1776, the Continental Congress had voted in favor of independence, and 2 days later, the delegates from 13 colonies had adopted the Declaration of Independence. It is designated as a federal holiday. It is across the United States. On 1938, Independence Day celebrations have now existed as far back as the 18th century and even the American Revolution. Now, the festivities, they range from fireworks, parades, and concerts. Now, when the 4th of July it falls on a weekend, it is typically observed on the closest weekday. It's either a Friday or a Monday. These are the live visuals coming in from New York, celebrating 250th anniversary of the independence of the United States of America. As you can see, these are visuals from New York of the beautiful fireworks show that's taking place. On the other hand, what we are getting to know is, according to a senior White House official, President Trump is still expected to deliver a speech on the National Mall for the 4th of July. The timings might fluctuate due to the weather. Initially, the people in National Mall were told to evacuate because of thunderstorms. But what we're getting right now, the news that we're getting right now, is that according to a senior White House official, President Donald Trump is still expected to deliver a speech on the National Mall. What we also know is all remaining flyovers for the evening of July 4th Salute to America event have been canceled. That is, of course, due to severe weather. Now, the flyovers were started at about 1 p.m. local time. It had, of course, the NASA Northrop F-5 jet that was expected to continue about every 10 to 20 minutes, for about 9 hours. That was put on hold and now have been canceled due to severe weather. But still, these visuals are coming on that you see right now is from New York, of the fireworks show. Just to give more information about this fireworks show, this is the Macy's 4th of July fireworks show that had been reprogrammed. They were earlier scheduled to start at about 9:20 p.m. local time, that had been moved up. Again, celebrations in Washington, D.C., Boston, and Philadelphia, they have been affected due to stormy weather. But at least in New York, the fireworks show has continued. This is the Macy's 4th of July fireworks show. On the other hand, in Philadelphia, in Boston, Washington, especially in Philadelphia, local authorities and organizers of Philadelphia's Unity Concert for America, they have evacuated attendees due to severe weather. although celebrations are continuing across the United States. All right, to give us some ground updates is our correspondent Susan Teani is now joining us live. Susan, of course, these are the visuals coming in from New York. You're also joining us from there. Tell us about the celebrations that are taking place and this fireworks show.
Yeah, the celebrations that we're seeing right now on WION, of course, are from the spectacular Macy's parade and fireworks that happen every year. But I will say in numerous neighborhoods around the city, because the rain hasn't started here yet, people are firing their own fireworks as well. So the mood is very jubilant, despite the fact that we were dealing with a very severe heat wave earlier in the day. But authorities and officials said that the fireworks would continue, rain or shine, and we're seeing that. And they're not only continuing, but the celebrations and the events are happening here in New York and across the United States as well. However, in Washington, D.C., that's a whole other story. There's been evacuations. We reported earlier, and we talked earlier about how people were taking cover, and authorities were telling them, what buildings to go to, and people are being hunkered down. Now, we are getting reports, and according to the White House press pool, the president is very adamant, and he expects to deliver that speech because he believes that this is a very important speech to give on America 250. He says, while everyone should be safe, I plan to deliver the speech one way or the other, no matter what. So as of now in Washington, D.C., authorities are sort of saying that the plans are being delayed as opposed to completely canceled. Now, there were some flyovers. The flyovers got canceled. There won't be any more of that. There was a big parade scheduled earlier in the day that was canceled because of the extreme heat. But now, as this rain comes in, they say that things have been delayed. But other events did happen across Washington, D.C., and we did see, celebrations taking place. But again, right now, this sort of air of uncertainty is hovering over what happens to President Trump's speech. But he says that he's adamant, and he was telling Fox, even if it goes to 2 a.m., I'm going to deliver the speech one way or the other. Now, whether there's going to be anyone there at that hour, that's another story. But he says that he wants to deliver the speech one way or the other.
Right, of course. And of course, the authorities must have prepared for this weather because we know that, as you mentioned, this comes as a severe heat wave has been over the United States, across states, a lot of states, all these where a heat dome has also been in place. What are the kind of preparations that were done by the authorities regarding that?
Well, there just the past few days, the East Coast here in the United States has been dealing with severe heat waves that we haven't seen in many years. So authorities were, setting up cooling centers not only here in New York, but in Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia, as you mentioned as well. They were constantly warning people, notably the elderly and children, to not stay outside for a long period of time. But 4th of July in the United States has a special way of bringing people together. And the ceremonies that we attended, there were a lot of people out regardless. We didn't see a lot of elderly, but the people that we saw were trying to make the best of the situation. But then to top that, a lot of people wanted to celebrate by the beaches. That didn't happen because a lot of the beaches in and around the East Coast, notably here in New York, were closed because of the high humidity and heat and high currents, not to mention water pollution as well. But nonetheless, what we're seeing on our screens right now is the Macy's fireworks parade that, despite the heat and the storm, a lot of Americans will be watching from their television. It is in New York, but it is really a celebration that usually airs nationally all over the United States for free on their local channels. So that's a way for people to enjoy it. But again, there was this really heavy concern because of the heat wave. I think the heat wave was more of a concern than the rain, because Macy's said that even if it starts pouring in New York, the fireworks would continue, rain or shine. To what we know, at least for now, is that Washington is the same thing. Washington's fireworks is expected to happen. Now, those fireworks in Washington, it's 9:22 local time right now. President Trump was initially expected to give his speech at 9:45 and 10:30. The fireworks were expected to start. Now that the program has been pushed back or delayed, we don't know if it's canceled yet. It might be. Those fireworks might happen a little later as well, pushing everything back.
Right. And of course, as you mentioned, Donald Trump has said that he will be delivering his speech no matter what. What are we expecting from his speech? Because we heard from him saying that it's going to be a unique speech. We've heard him say that before. So what are we expecting from that longest speech, the unique speech? What does that mean?
Well, yeah, that's a very Trump manner to say that this speech is going to be a great speech, is going to be the greatest speech that you've ever heard. It's going to be greater tan my previous speeches, as he's, often said that about every speech that he gives. The White House hasn't released much, but what we do know is he wants to talk about America's exceptionalism, this experiment that is the United States, and sort of how we survived this past 250 years and what's ahead for the next 250 years. However, they also said that he was going to talk about some of his achievements and his administration achievements as well, notably when it comes to the issue of national security and border security, immigration, and the economy as well. Now, there was sort of a sense of concern that this speech is going to turn sort of into a campaign rally style speech. And a lot of Americans were hoping that that wouldn't be the case because, 4th of July is usually a holiday that is nonpartisan. And Americans of all walks of life come together. So there was a little concern and talk about that, about whether or not it's going to be a speech that's going to unite Americans and Americans are going to feel that sense of unity, or is it going to be divisive, and is it going to be more about spearheading his campaign promises as we are also entering the midterm elections. But now the White House is saying that the president is not only adamant on delivering that speech, but although he mentioned earlier that it's going to be the longest speech that he has given, or it's going to be the longest 4th of July speech, now the White House is saying that they might sort of cut that speech a little shorter. So, we are expecting him to talk about the themes that he often talks about. But we're also perhaps maybe expecting not that long speech that he's expected to give. I want to remind our viewers that when he gave his State of the Union back in February, that was the longest State of the Union speech that anyone has ever given. So I don't know if he was expecting this one to be longer than that, but we'll have to wait and see if he's going to even go that long because of the circumstances that we have.
True. All right, Susan, of course, we'll come back to you as and when we get any more details. And what you see on the screens are live visuals from New York, where the Macy's 4th of July fireworks show is on full display, celebrating 250 years of independence of the United States of America. We'll get you more details on the other side of a very short break. Thanks for watching.